I'll be talking about the restoration of it's a vintage Stanley, antique Stanley 5.5, which is unusual. I don't even own a 5.5. I don't even own a 5, but 5 they're extra wide. They're from a 5, so it's considered a jack plane. And this particular one is a vintage 1915, 1920. It's a Type 11 or a later Type 11. Hi, I'm Norman Perillo, a furniture designer, maker at Perillo Design, and woodworking educator, author at Wood Skills. So it's considered a jack plane, and this particular one is a vintage 1915, 1920. It's a Type 11 or a later Type 11. Almost Type 12. It has a couple of features from a Type 12, but mostly Type 11. And distinguishing features are adjustable frog, the smaller frog adjusting wheel, which is an inch in diameter, and they've upped it to 1.25 inches in a Type 12. And also in a Type 12 or later, they've also increased the width to 2 3/8 inch for the actual iron itself and cap iron. And this is 2 1/4, so it's a little unusual, and it's a little more difficult to source that blade for that size. So I've kept here, I've cleaned up, reground the original blade and honed it. I wanted to replace it with a more conventional, modern 1/8 inch thick blade. This is just under 1/8 of an inch, but it works really well. So the other distinguishing features, it's not only a 5.5, but it's a 5.5C. It's for corrugated sole. This is something I've never had ever, and it apparently designed to reduce friction as it's gliding along the wood, and it works. From the testing I've done, it seems to. I don't need to apply tool wax to the sole, and it's a flat sole in both directions, so along its length and across its width, before and after the mouth. And another distinguishing feature is the very tight mouth area, which I find unusual for an older plane. It's almost like the width of a bedrock style plane. It's very, very narrow, and that's another reason I couldn't even fit an aftermarket blade in or iron. It would be too thick for that opening. That's very unusual. So another change I've made, this is actually the restored, after it's restored, and I'll show you some pictures of what it looked like before I restored it. So another change I've made is the original front knob and tote were, well, the knob is in good shape. They're both rosewood for that era with brass barrel nuts. And the shafts, the steel shafts that I had to remove rust from. But this particular rear tote, rear handle, was cracked, but part of it's missing in the very top portion, especially around the area where the barrel nut fits in. So the original intention was to repair it, but I find these early totes were very constraining. They're small. They fit the hand, but you're locked into a very small space between the hand and between the bottom of the tote and the horn of the tote. So I had a couple of surplus Veritas Lee Valley Bobinga totes that I purchased at a rock bottom $1 a piece or something years ago. And I never used them for anything. I recall having them, and I thought maybe I should try adapting one. So I tried the first one, and I explained in one of the lessons why it didn't work out. So that's so much for that. You can still see the price tag on there for that here, $1. They're still available now for a little bit more than $1, $15 or so. So I've adapted a second one. This is for a different plane, a 4-plane if I'm not mistaken, and it fits the angle of the bore. And the handle itself works really well with the predetermined angle of the iron shaft that holds the handle or the tote. It clamps it down. The only issue was that I explained in quite a bit of detail in one of the lessons is the fact that it rotates. It doesn't have anything forward of, so I developed an insert through trial and error and some fittings, the wood insert to lock it in, and it works really well now. I've been testing it thoroughly, as you'll see in the lessons. So it locks it in, keeps it from rotating, and it's locked in. So I trust it 100%. It's a nicer, more modern. It's a little bit more upright than the original. It's larger. It's better suited for a medium to large size hand. And I've also replaced the knob. These are still available from Veritas. They're for their classic style hand planes. They're a similar type knob to this tall knob for the Type 11, Type 12, the Stanley jack. And the barrel nut fits. So I've used the original barrel nut rod. They fit well, and so there's no problem. And this apparently is rosewood, according to the label. So that's another nice feature. So I've managed to clean the metal up as best I could. I couldn't get a polish out of the metal, but the rust is all gone. And you'll see in those images that I just shown how rusty this was. This was caked in rust, this whole area. And fortunately, the machine parts were in excellent shape. It just needs some cleaning and oiling, and so it's a premium plane for its era. Not quite to the same level as a bedrock style plane, but it's very, very close. It's a Bailey style, but you could still adjust the frog from the back. Although you do need to loosen the frog screws, and I go into that in depth in the lesson. So I hope you enjoy the restore, and what you see now is totally unlike what it looked like originally, as you've seen in the images. So it's a nice plane, and it works really well. It's amazing. I can use it as a large smoother, or I can use it as a conventional jack and take larger shavings down, dressing wood. So I hope you enjoy it. So I'm going to keep these old parts, of course. And once I have some time to repair this, we'll repair this handle tote, and I have those parts. So I kept everything so I can substitute the original parts for my aftermarket parts anytime. And that's that. It's a very good, successful restore, and I hope you gain something from it, and you try to restore your own. These vintage planes. This was a $35 plane, just to give you an idea, and something comparable plane today, a jack in this size that functions the same, almost 95% similar to this. It wouldn't have an adjustable mouth or anything. The newer ones would. This is it's over $400. So it's definitely to your advantage to try to restore these old planes if they haven't got major flaws or cracks, and that's something I point out in the lessons on what to look for. Hopefully you gain something from the lessons and enjoy.